The Saints now are on the clock for our draft recap coverage, and their draft is headlined by Aaron's favorite wide receiver in the draft, Chris Olave. Then they selected Trevor Penning, who was quite possibly the most obvious pick in the draft. And then they finished off with Alontae Taylor as their big three, the safety out of Tennessee. We have to start right there though with Chris Olave, Aaron. Let's this is the final, really our final draft talk. So let's put a kibosh on your Chris Olave thoughts.
Hate.
Oh,
call it hate.
I avoided hate.
Call it hate.
The word hate. I avoided
call it
hate this time.
Call it hate. I'm gonna hate.
Okay.
I'm gonna hate.
All
Saints
right.
fans are gonna hate me, but I'm gonna hate Chris Olave. Listen, when we talk about wide receivers that are being drafted at the top of the draft, 1 through 10, 10 through 15, what do we look for when we see those players? I mean, in the past, when you get these players that have been drafted high, what is the first thing you do? Most people look at the surface numbers. Let's go back and look at his college stats. Can you guys guess? Don't look. Can you guys guess what Chris Olave's best season is at Ohio State? Just guess. Throw it out there. Go ahead.
1,000?
What was?
Best season at Ohio State. What were his
1,100
numbers?
yards. 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Wrong.
800 yards and 6 touchdowns.
If that's your best season, look, his best season, which was last year, best season by far, he had 936 yards for an offense that damn near leads the country in offense week after week after week. So I'm sorry. I am not drafting this man like a Julio Jones. I'm not drafting this man like a Jameson Williams. Put your hand down. You'll get your turn. I'm not drafting this. This is a high-powered offense with one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And his best season at Ohio State, the Ohio State University, 4-year starter, was 65 catches for 900 yards. Yes, he had 13 touchdowns, a lot of touchdowns. I'll give you that. And now you're going to ask him to come in and fill a void with New Orleans. Again, I'm not saying he can't be a productive receiver in the NFL, but you drafted him to be a dude that high at number 11. That's supposed to be a benchmark wide receiver for your team. You're talking about a guy who's not very big, who played limited snaps against press coverage. He's going to have a question mark due to his size to be able to get off of those press cover corners. He doesn't block very well, so you can throw that out of the loop. I don't get what all the hype is about Chris Olave. He's fast. He can play both slot and outside. He has some nice abilities. He's a good route runner. I don't see the spectacular that we are wanting from a guy that's drafted number 11 overall. That's my problem.
What do you see from Trayvon Walker then at number 1?
He's a physical freak. He's physically. Chris Olave is not a physical freak. He's like every other receiver that's 5'11" that runs a 4.3 or 4.4. Trayvon Walker is physically different. Not to mention, you're talking about a completely different position. Edge rusher and wide receiver are two different positions. That receiver that you drafted, Velus Jones, is he not fast? He's a decent route runner, and he's the same size, probably bigger than a Chris Olave. What separates? I'm not saying he is Chris Olave. Don't get me wrong. But when you're separating that, what are you separating it? You base it on route running and productivity. Chris Olave doesn't have that production. And I get they have a lot of weapons at Ohio State. But we all looked at Garrett Wilson, and I don't think anybody questioned whether Garrett Wilson was better than Chris Olave for a number of reasons. Footwork, just looking at him, he looks the part. Chris Olave looks to me like every other wide receiver that's come out of Ohio State at 5'11", 197, runs a 4.3, 4.4, and has been a complete bust in the NFL. That's, again, I told you I don't have a whole lot of yes, he's going to be a bust because of this. It just looks too similar. And then you look at his level of production at Ohio State, and you're like, well, that's not special. At least have 1 year of special. Treylon Burks had 1 year of special. Jameson Williams leaves Ohio State. He had 1 year of being really, really special. Chris Olave didn't. Where is that at? That's what I'm asking for. That's it. And Chris Olave haters or lovers are going to hate on me and tell me I'm stupid. And maybe I am. Maybe he'll blow up and be great.
I'm just trying to figure out what part we're going to clip for social media on that one. AJ, go ahead.
I mean, I mean, the sad part is, like, I don't agree with him, but based on everything he said, I can't tell you why. I mean, I could talk about the fact that I enjoy the way Chris Olave gets off of the line, gets off the break. I talk a lot about receiver separation downfield. Chris Olave is one of the guys that gets separation at the point at the snap. Once it's gone, he's gone. Chris Olave's got great hands. Chris Olave is one of the better route runners in the league. But when you talk about the things that he brought up, the production, we talk about being that guy. We thought Chris Olave was going to be that go-to guy after Terry McLaurin left and things of that nature. And it just wasn't the case. They spread the ball around to everybody because every playmaker was so damn special. I would just imagine that Chris Olave will bring some things to the table to give the Saints different looks on that offensive side of the ball. We looked at a Marquez Callaway hoping that he could be the guy while Michael Thomas was out. And so far, he hasn't lived up to it. Well, maybe having a Michael Thomas who can do what Marcus Callaway does as well as what Chris Olave does, and then have those two guys who are specialties in high pointing the ball in a Callaway and getting separation or quick hits and slants and movements out of the break in a Chris Olave, maybe that gives the Saints a sense of filling out their weapons. So that's the best I have for you picking at 11, but I don't think he's going to be a bust. I like him a lot more apparently than Aaron does, but that's the best I can do in defense.
Who's that Ohio State wide receiver that's there now that went off in like that bowl game? Was it the bowl game that he went off? Oh, what's his name?
There? Right now? He just guy. Is it? I can't. Yeah, it's spelled weird. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but it's like Jackson Smith Jiba or something.
Oh, what's his name?
That's it. That's who it is.
Jackson Smith and Jiba. Yeah.
I just said that.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
You didn't sound sure.
Yeah, you didn't sound sure.
I just didn't know how to pronounce his last name because it's spelled Ngiba.
So I'm just bringing him up for this reason. Last year, he outproduced all of the wide receivers at Ohio State, including a Garrett Wilson. Chris Olave was the third best receiver on that team. The third best. This dude in Gaki, whatever his name is, I don't know the damn name.
Jeeves, we'll call him Jeeves.
He had 1,600 yards, and I looked at that dude, and I know he had an amazing game, but I looked at that dude, I'm like, that jumps off the tape. That Jeeves kind of player jumps off. I'm like, he can ball. Garrett Wilson, AJ laments his keeping 2 feet in bounds and his body control. When you watch him play, it's different than watching Chris Olave play. Chris Olave is just like there, and he does some good things. He's a good route runner, and he has good hands, but it's not special to me. And in the NFL, I always rave about this. Show me special, and I'll show you a player that's going to be a superstar. Like, if you don't have those special abilities, it's hard. And every once in a while, you get Cooper Kupp, where maybe they don't jump off the tape, but you turn into Cooper Kupp or a Hunter Renfrow. Like, it happens. Don't get me wrong, but it's rare. And so for me, it's just that I don't get excited when I watch them play. I don't.
It's fair.
I want to get excited, guys. I want to get excited.
Trevor Penning gets
I know
me,
a team we'll
gets
talk
me
about
going.
later on in the show. It gets you excited.
Trevor Penning makes me excited.
Who? Oh, yeah, there is someone in the NFC South. Oh, yeah, Trevor. Yeah, it's Trevor Penning. He's good, right? He's good.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Trevor Penning pick. Alontae Taylor pick I really like as well. They lost some safety. They needed safety help. They addressed it in the second round with Alontae Taylor. I'm gonna have to sneeze. Okay, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. it was just coming. I couldn't help it. I thought it was gonna come out. So I really like what they did with the second first round pick and a Trevor Penning and Alontae Taylor. With very limited draft capital, you can only do so much. I thought the Saints did okay. Chris Olave was what it was. I wouldn't have traded up to get him. I would have traded up to get special.
That's what I wanted to ask you. If he falls to 19, are you okay with that pick?
I would have been okay, honestly, with that pick at 17, whatever their first one was. They moved up
16.
From.
So this is where, and I think I graded it the highest. I gave that Olave pick an A+. AJ, you gave it an A. Aaron, you gave it a B+. I gave it an A+, and it wasn't necessarily for the player itself. But look at what New Orleans gave up to move up to the 11th overall pick to get Olave. 16, 98, and pick 120. That's it. They didn't have to give up that much to move up to get Olave. So that's what went into my grading here also, I mean,
but you could have got Treylon Burks
like that's too much.
That's too much.
Really?
You could have got Treylon. What did the Eagles give up for AJ Brown? Right? They got that pick
and pick 101
and pick 101. Like they moved up to get a guy. When you move up to get a guy, for me, you're moving up to get a guy who you think is special. Maybe, and I'm not saying they don't think he's special. They obviously do. But they could have got Treylon Burks. Maybe they could have moved up and got Jahan Dotson.
Had they moved from 19 to 11, I would be a little bit better with what you said. But moving up from 16 to 11 doesn't feel like it was 3 picks in the same draft. Like, I mean,
let me ask you this question, Vinny. If today they had Treylon Burks instead of Chris Olave, are you grading him different? If they had Jahan Dotson instead of Chris Olave, are you grading them different?
I have Jahan Dotson higher than Treylon Burks. If they had Treylon Burks instead of Chris Olave, I would grade it lower. But if it was Jahan Dotson, who was still there, which is your point, I get it. It's fair. Let's take a look at the rest of the NFC South and how that shook out and see if the Saints are, well, only 4 picks. Maybe they ended up being good. Looks like this. Again, we talk about it. Not a lot of picks for these teams in the NFC South, I should say. The Carolina Panthers lead the charge with the 3.32, and right behind them, really, I mean, this is a tight race in the NFC South. Not a lot of picks, so it's much tighter for a grade. I mean, the grades look a little different in the NFC South, but Falcons at 2, and then the Saints literally 0.01 behind the Falcons. Shout out Aaron for his math, an incredible grading system that he has. And then the Bucks at 2.95, which is not bad at all. Again, that's a full sale score. That's a full sale APA for me. So boom, right there. GPAs, are there any, do you have anyone want to,
very indicative of how the NFC South is almost year to year. Take out the year Tom Brady came to the Bucks and they just dominated. Normally the NFC South shakes up like this a lot. Very tight races all the way through division. You're seeing 7 and 9 teams go to the playoffs because they were all bad that year too. Or then you see the 11 and 5 guys that are all good that year. So I'm not surprised that all the grades were so close together.
It'll probably end up being the opposite of what like the grades, like the highest is the Panthers and then the lowest is the Bucks. The lowest in the standings will most likely be the Panthers, and the highest standings team would be probably the Bucks. So,
yeah, well, remember, a lot of these teams didn't have very many high picks outside of the Falcons having 3 in the top 2 rounds. The Saints had a couple of first rounders, but Tampa Bay didn't pick until the second round. Panthers had a first round pick. It didn't pick again until the third. I thought Carolina maximized their draft with their limited capital. I thought the players they got, again, outside of the Matt Corral, which, could have even bumped up their grade even a bit more, but you address the position you feel like you need in a quarterback. But I think it's close. I think that's the thing we're talking about, a close division. It's going to be a close race. And Tampa Bay, they're the class of the division right now.